The night air show at Sun and Fun is exciting, but Steve does his thing during the day. This is a story about Steve Henry, a very talented Idaho STOL pilot. Stick around and see why he's the gold standard. You can bank to the left a little bit, yes. STOL means short takeoff and landing. Demos and competitions are scored by combining the takeoff distance and the landing distance in feet. The shortest distance is the best. Steve participates in the Husky National STOL Demo and Competition at air shows around the country. He currently flies a high-performance just aircraft Highlander equipped with a 300 horsepower Yamaha engine. Here Steve starts the daily STOL demo as one of 7 participants, each trying to achieve the shortest takeoff and landing combined distance. Next up is John Humbert from Tennessee in his Zenith Super 701 with a 130 horsepower UL engine. This is Gary Schmidt from North Carolina in his Just Aircraft Super STOL with a 115 horsepower Rotax 914 engine. Next up is Kris Griewahn from South Carolina in his Just Aircraft Super STOL with a 140 horsepower Rotax 915 engine. Here is Cameron Simmons in his Super Patriot Cub with a 176 horsepower IO 320 engine. This is Colin Kobasinski in his Piper PA-18 with a 150 horsepower O320 engine. And finishing up is Nick Poucher in his Patriot Cub, built by students from the Lakeland Aero Club. Steve approaches his first landing in the gusty left crosswind conditions amplified by the line of trees parallel to the runway. John is also feeling the effects of the wind turbulence. But managed to score a short landing. Steve waits and watches his fellow pilots as they land. Looks like Gary's higher approach and additional speed for better control makes a short landing more difficult. It appears that Kris has a similar approach to Gary, but is able to lose a little more speed for landing.
exactly what John Humphrey needs to unseat
Cameron's low and steady approach seems to be less affected by the wind turbulence. Colin's higher approach was controlled and timed for a smooth landing. Nick's long, low approach yielded a great spot landing, but his small tires required a longer rollout before stopping. Steve starts his engine and leads the parade past the audience of spectators, fans, and family, with appreciative waves in both directions. On a short rest before the next series of flights, listen carefully as Steve shares some of his tips and observations.
All right. Let's look at these flaps right now. Sometimes I put the flaps on just so the wind doesn't catch them and flap them. The only thing that holds them up is the spring, so if the wind catches them, you can really slap them down. So if I put them all the way down to start with, I have a stop there. That way if the wind hits them, it just can barely move them. You can't just wind them up and really nail them down. If this much, there's pretty good wind blowing. The problem is it's crosswind, and it comes around those trees over there and just rolls and tumbles.
Now Steve prepares for his next takeoff. Steve is always safety conscious. Can you find safety examples in this cabin view? That's right. Steve wears a crash helmet. Steve wears a 4-point seatbelt and harness. And Steve has a fire extinguisher within reach. Very good. Even Steve scratches every once in a while. Short field takeoff rules. Taxi into position with main gear stopped on reference line. Takeoff distance will be measured to where the farthest main wheel leaves the ground for the last time. All measurements will be taken at the main gear axle. Short field landing rules. Main gear must land on or beyond the reference line. Main gear touchdown prior to the reference line is disqualifying. Tailwheel touchdown prior to the reference line is not disqualifying. Aircraft must come to a full stop, straight ahead, and remain stopped until judges have had a chance to measure the distance. Landing distance will be measured from the reference line to the main gear axle. Tailwheels can touch down before the reference line. The remaining flights show Steve practicing and improving his STOL skills. Be sure to watch the last flight. It's a lesson for all of us.
Steve, you okay? Get fuel off? Crap. Wheel just axle broke, brother. Yeah. How many on the wing?
Thanks to a well-built Highlander 4130 chrome moly steel fuselage and landing gear, a crash helmet, and a 4-point seat belt and harness, Steve was uninjured after this incident. Steve and Josh replaced the broken port side main gear axle, the propeller and hub, and a slight starboard wingtip damage. After a successful test flight, they were back in the next STOL demo.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't, and as always, I appreciate your comments. So please join me on my next adventure. Until then, take care.